Good evening, my friend. Welcome home. Thank you for being here for WW Radio Live. I am Lou Mongello. It is Wednesday, my favorite night of the week. I am a couple of minutes late and clearly woefully unprepared, at least in terms of what I'm wearing for tonight's show. Time got away from me today very, very quickly. This happens, I think, as you get older. The space-time continuum gets warped. The day flew by. All I know is it was like 6:45. I sat down at my desk to start working, and I looked up, and it was 7:09. And I don't really know what happened. 7:09 p.m., not 7:09 a.m. So, but it's fine. We're here a minute late, and we are live. If you are watching live, thank you for being here. Tell me where you are watching from and what you are snacking on tonight. And if you're watching on the replay, don't forget to join us here every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and turn on notifications because you never know when or from where I may go live. And also, I keep forgetting to, if you haven't done it already, please make sure you follow me over on Instagram. I share a lot, usually, especially when I'm traveling, I share a lot of stories and reels and posts, and I even went live a little bit while I was away. I'll probably be doing a lot more of that in 2 weeks when we head back to Japan for our WW Radio Group Adventures by Disney. We had a pre-trip call last night. We had a group Zoom call last night, getting to meet one another, going over some details and some tips and things like that. And I am more excited than ever to go back. I was this close to not coming home from the trip for Star Wars Celebration. There's a little part of me, a lot of part of me that wishes I could have stayed. But we are going back. We have an amazing, it's not even a group, it's a family, but like this. So I cannot wait, and I cannot wait to share it with you. And we're already talking about what's next. We're already talking about, and by we, I mean Becky is like, meh, meh, meh. She's like talking about the next Adventures by Disney. It's an idea that we've been tossing around. I think I shared the question in the newsletter, but Becky's like, okay, I need to know right now, like right now. And if I don't say if I don't answer right now, every 15 minutes, it's like, no, really, right now. And I'm sure she's here, probably telling me, yeah, there she is, telling me, look, I didn't even read this. Oh yeah, you owe me an answer. Oh, okay, that's fine. Betsy, you are not snacking yet. If you have any suggestions, listen, you can never go wrong with just really good, simple, non-butter, just salt popcorn. Doritos of any flavor, Cool Ranch. I feel maybe it could be a retro taco flavor kind of night, because if you can't see, my shirt says snacks are my love language, which is how I adopted this incredibly Adonis-like body. I do love snacking, and like everything else, even snacking is elevated in Japan. Like even, oh my God, I look like Jesus, Mongello. You look like you just woke up, didn't you? Heather is having pasta. Heather, if pasta and carbohydrates were, I say this all the time, if pasta and carbs were healthy, I would not look like this. Let's just put it that way. Randall Jackson from Candace. Good to see you. Deborah from, look, she's not stopping. It's just, I need an answer. She's doing it. Top 10 Beckyisms. Watching on two different platforms at the same time, but saying the exact same thing on both. And you wonder why I drink. Anyway, Claire's gonna make chocolate chip cookies. Claire, are you a crunchy chocolate chip cookie girl, or are you a soft, chewy, put lots of chocolate chips? You see which way I'm leaning, because that is the right way to do it. Lemon lime chicken thighs, lemon basil pasta salad. Wow, it actually sounds very healthy. Sean, I am at least for now in the off season, I am comfortable wearing this hat. We had a heck of a draft. I'm going to enjoy this feeling of hope and wishing for a little while until the season starts and they just rip my heart out again. But it was a nice draft. The draft was like the Super Bowl for us last week. So Shedeur Sanders, not so much, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. Amanda Bonner from me and themagic.com. Good to see you. By the way, Sean is from, wait, I was going to call him you Tater again, but mostly Disney. I have to get this right. Since it was a nice day here in Maine, we just got back from Dairy Queen, where I had chocolate. God, I haven't been to Dairy Queen since I was like yay high. I'm still yay high. So there you go. But yeah, so tonight, not only am I woefully underdressed and mismatched, what is going on with this color scheme? It doesn't matter. I thought tonight, let's just have some fun. I have to do a relatively short show. There's some things I'm working on here, which I am not ready to show you yet. And some things I have to get done that are very time sensitive tonight, not including, but notwithstanding, Becky's like, Becky, I wish I had the duck. So, I can see you now walking around in a robe with a toothbrush and towel while walking through Fantasy Springs. That is a vision that no one wants to see. But tonight, let's just do some Q&A. I have some questions for you. You can ask me anything you want, and hopefully I can answer. Hopefully I can and would be willing to answer most anything, other than Becky's question that I know she's waiting for. Becky, you got to give me a minute, man. I got to look. I can't make a snap decision. This is a very big thing. Plus, clearly, Becky wasn't paying attention on the cruise. Snacks are my love language. Somebody made this for me on our last cruise on the Treasure, which, gosh, I can't wait to go back on the Treasure. Although I am very curious, and I cannot wait to see, especially as we see more coming out about the Destiny. February 9th, 2026 is going to be here before you know it. Becky's going to start yelling at me that I don't have like a logo done and a group created yet. But I can't wait to see what the Destiny is going to look like, especially with the heroes and villains theme. And that'll be my first question for you tonight. My first question is, who's going to see Thunderbirds? Thunderbolts, asterisk. Who's going to see? I used to have a Thunderbird. Who's going to see Thunderbolts this week? I have not. I've been trying to avoid any sort of reviews. I've watched not all of the trailers. I think the only way I can describe it is I usually say cautiously optimistic. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful to walk out of that movie with the same feeling that I used to have in Marvel movies. So I have my tickets for tomorrow night at my local theater, and we'll see. We shall see. I've what little I have heard, I've heard really good things about. So we'll see if it lives up to the hype. So, Becky says, Becky, if you just said you have a year, I'm going to what my mother used to say, I'm going to mobilize you. I don't know what it ever meant, but I know it wasn't good. But that is, Mom, I finally got what you meant. It's just that level of frustration that you finally got to, that you just want to. Becky, you asked me like 2 days ago. Good Gandhi. Anyway, so that's my question for you. Jason says, have I ever hoped, wished, considered working for Disney? It's actually a great question. There was a part of me many, many years ago that was like, oh, I wish I would have worked for Disney. And there's a little part of me that wishes that I would have gone through the process. I wanted to sort of go through the process of traditions and training and learning and getting that hands-on. And this is when traditions was like a week long. Like I wanted the full-blown, like all-in traditions, training and cross you and all those type of things. However, if I would have gone down that road, I would not be here. Like I know life would have taken me in a very different direction and they would not be here. So I don't wish or regret not doing that, but there's a little part of me that would have liked to have just sort of seen it behind the scenes. And I have, look, I've met a lot of people who are cast members and have been fortunate to see a lot of things behind the scenes, but have not had that sort of real world boots on the ground type of experience. So, let me see. Have I ever done the long walk between TTC to Poly to Grand Floridian and Magic Kingdom? Tom O'Leary, it sounds lovely, especially on a beautiful night like this. This is not a body made for those. I'm more of a monorail or a boat kind of guy. I want to save my steps to get in between all of my different snacking locations. Although when we were in Japan, Becky and I were doing 20,000 steps a day because there's a lot of snacks there. So, Have I made it to Epic Universe? Not yet. Not yet, much to my son's chagrin. And if he could hear me, he'd be yelling in the background that I have not been as yet. But we're going to go once after it opens, sort of works through some of the, opening test and adjust that they need a little bit. So Amanda Lamb is watching from Melbourne, Australia. I think that is amazing. I don't know, it still fascinates me that we are able to connect and have community that extends that far out. Amanda, thank you so much for watching. What time is it in Australia? And I would love, love, love to get there one day. Australia is definitely one of the things on my bucket list. Dan Boyle says, definitely going to see Thunderbolts. Hearing great things. Previews have been great. I also want to figure out what the asterisk means because it clearly must have big meaning. I'm quickly going through your questions and comments. Roast beef popcorn in Tokyo Disney Sea seems intriguing. Instead of butter, they should have gravy. Kenneth, it doesn't sound like it should work, but it does. First of all, you walk near that cart and you're wonderfully you're almost hit in the face with this smell and you're like, what? You stop in your tracks and you hear the angels sing and you look over and see where they're singing from. It is the top of the roast beef popcorn cart. Japan does popcorn. There's 17 different popcorn flavors throughout the parks. So what is my second favorite World Showcase Pavilion? Knowing, of course, that Japan is first. So I'll talk it out with you because what makes for a quote-unquote favorite pavilion? Is it the food? Is it the entertainment offerings? Is it an attraction? And I think it's no, because Japan does not have an attraction. The pavilion is the attraction. There's also just the overall aesthetics of it. How does it look during the day? How does it look at night? I think Morocco is a wildly overlooked pavilion. I think it's beautiful. I love the depth of Morocco, literal and figurative, right? The depth in terms of how far back it goes. I love the winding streets, the sense that you can turn a corner, sort of step into a marketplace. I love Tangerine Cafe. I'm talking myself into this. I love Tangerine Cafe. I love that the King of Morocco sent his artisans over. I love that every tile was laid by hand. I love the rotating exhibits in the gallery. I love, love, love walking into the apartment building area. And I am assuming it's still there. If you listen carefully, you can hear the families up in some of the rooms. So I didn't think I was going to say Morocco, but I might have to just did I just convince myself that it's Morocco? It could be. I also love China too. But you know what? You go Morocco. I'm going to say Morocco. Why not? Timur, I can't even put that thing up on the screen. There'll be no comments about the Eagles and losing players to the Eagles. I'm thinking about doing a group trip to the Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. So, Deborah, we did that a few years ago. Becky and I talked about this not too long ago. We need to go back to San Francisco. And there's an element of that trip that I'd love to be able to try and add to it before we go back, if possible. But I would go back just for the Family Museum and the sourdough bread. I would go back for the sourdough bread, not even including the Family Museum. The Family Museum was almost secondary to the sourdough bread. So it's 9:42. So you are 14 hours ahead or behind Earth. Carolyn Danielle Bailey, first time joining. Happy to be here, and thanks for doing this. Thank you for being here. Joining this community really has been helpful in a dark time personally. Carolyn, thank you for finding us. How did you find the show? How did you find the community? I hope that, and it's part of the reason why, because I'm just a positive person, I hope that the show and this community and the live is that positive light that has a ripple effect on you and whatever it is that you are going through, and know that you always have a place to come where not only you are welcome, you are family, and you're going to be in a place where hopefully it can distract you from whatever is going on in real life. So, any big plans or big announcements coming from WW Radio for May the 4th? So there are plans on the books, and the books being my head, to possibly go to One Galaxy's Edge for May the 4th. May the 4th be with my patience, because it is going to be a mob scene. We'll see. We'll see. I might try and get there if I can, but it's like church on Easter. Like everybody goes. The priest in my church calls it the CEOs. They come out in on Christmas, Easter, and holy days of obligation. It's like people go out to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for May the 4th. So we will see. Amanda's watching Hawkeye to prep for Thunderbolts. You know, I the other so usually what I do in the morning, not that you care, is I'll like get up early. Usually I plot myself here, but sometimes I'll go down, I'll make some coffee or tea, and I'll just sort of do, I call it sort of relatively mindless work. I'll do like answer emails and just sort of triage my inbox, and I'll put stuff on in the background. And sometimes, especially when football season is not on, I put on Black Widow not too long ago because I said, oh, let me sort of catch. I feel bad for Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, for a lot of reasons. She had a very tough upbringing, but I feel bad because I don't think it's a great movie, and I was only watching it to sort of prepare for Thunderbolts, and I just think it suffered from so many unfortunate circumstances, both timing wise, writing wise, etc. But we'll see what. But I really do like. I like Florence Pugh, and I'm really curious to see her in Thunderbolts asterisk tomorrow. I'll be watching the movie at this time tomorrow, so we'll see. The best way to see inside Walt's apartment in Disneyland. Come with us on our adventures by Disney. I think Becky, right? We have one spot left for. Is it either or both? Right. I think we have one spot for the July 27th trip or the July 6th trip later on this year. This is the way to go see Walt's apartment because you get a very unique experience and time in the apartment to go and see it. So when is the next trip to Aulani, and will my family go too? I would love to go back to Aulani. Unfortunately, Becky doesn't want to go. I've been asking her for so long. My phone's going to ring in 3, 2, usually with some sort of very offensive word or gesture that I need to look up because I don't use that type of language. But I would love to go back and do another group trip to Aulani. And because I'm taking my family to Japan, this will probably be the last trip for them for a while because, yeah, so let me see. My wife had me move to the big TV. That's now I'm even more self-conscious. I need to like adjust my lighting, change my hat. This is not going to look good on the big TV. My Amy, I'm going to say your son, your daughter, your husband, your somebody loves Germany because of the train. I love the fact that the train set changes seasonally and they decorate it for the festivals and Halloween. What is my favorite Disney smell? Right now it's roast beef popcorn because it's what I'm thinking about. What is my favorite Disney smell? I don't know what I said in the show that we did. There is something about the musty water smell in Pirates that is very comforting. There is something about the popcorn on Main Street. I'm quickly flying through the parks in my mind's eye. It's probably something like that. It's probably something that would cue some sort of nostalgic memory for me. So, Chad Williams watching from Epcot. Where in Epcot are you, and what are you eating? Is really the most important. If I could get a redo on a podcast, what subject or person would I choose? Oh, it's an interesting. I never thought about that. So this wasn't my fault, but there was only one interview I've ever done that I never aired, ever, and it'll never see the light of day. And it's not because of me; it's because of the person I interviewed. So I was invited to have an exclusive, just me opportunity to interview somebody for one of the concert series in Epcot. I won't say which one, but I will say that from a it was an individual or a band member from a group from 70s or 80s, like right in my wheelhouse. Totally dug it. Like I was psyched for this. And this person, like from the outset, was he was a jerk. He was such a jerk. And nothing that I did to either like be like grateful, to be complimentary, to be like nothing would sort of snap. He was having a bad day. I'll chalk it up to that. Or he's just a jerk. And I just couldn't air it. I couldn't air it because I think it was just a bad look for him. And I think ultimately a reflection on the band itself. I would love to have had another chance to sort of have the interview go well, but it's not one that keeps me up at night at all. And if I could what subject or person would I choose? Having really never, in 20 years of podcasting, I've never repeated a topic other than smells, because it wasn't a repeat, it was a revisit, because so much time, nearly 20 years had gone by in between. I don't know that I would go back, and I think the perfectionist in me, there's been plenty of times that, the recording light goes off and I'm like, God, Mangello, you idiot. And I beat myself. I should not, why am I confessing this to you? I'll beat myself and I'll overthink it. Hi, I'm Lou, I'm an overthinker. I will beat myself up and I will overthink and I'm like, why did you do this? Why didn't you do this? You should have done this instead. I try and spin that into a positive so that next time I get better, so I don't make that same mistake, which in my mind it's invisible to you because you don't know. You don't know that in my mind I made a mistake, or I missed something, or I left something out, or the trial attorney in me says, oh, I missed there was an open door there that I missed going through. Because I think the only thing I would ever redo is, there are many times, including at Star Wars Celebration, for example, where I'm given a very, very, very short window of time to do an interview. So I have to try and I've got to try and cover a lot in a short period of time, get the story or stories told that I want to, and then serve you, because I know you as a fan, me as a fan, there are answers to questions that we want, but I only have a finite amount of time to answer it. And there's sometimes I'll be doing an interview and I'll ask a question and the answer will go long. And I'm like, dude, shut up. I have so many more questions I have to get to you. So even at Star Wars Celebration, I caught myself almost rushing through and combining things in my head because I was trying to get so much out in such a very relatively short window and very, very ridiculously loud environment. But I'm grateful just to have that opportunity. Really long answer to a very, very short question. I will move on. Hopefully that answered what you were looking for. And it is tomorrow in Australia. Space and time. It's just wild. Let me see. I just first heard you on another podcast. Shout out to Unlocking the Magic. That's awesome. Thank you. I've never done the mosaic. No, I would really like to do the sangria tasting because it's over at Three Bridges, which I love. If only there was anybody, maybe somebody in the local area who likes Three Bridges, who would go and share in that sangria tasting experience with me, I would do it. Yet here I sit, unshowered and clearly mismatched in my dress, just hoping, waiting that my phone would ring. It's like high school and college and law school all over again. Just waiting for my phone to ring. No, my ringer's on. It's just not. Oh, wait, no, Becky did. Wait, Becky did send me something. Let's see. Oh, my goodness gracious. That is not. First of all, Becky, that's disgusting. And I cannot show that. And I'll just let you leave that to your imagination, what it could have been. Bless you for going. I went once. It was packed. I know. Alana, that's what has me concerned about going, because I live here and I have the gift of being able to go whenever. Do I just go for the sake of going because it's May the 4th? I don't know. We'll see. Will there be a meet of the month in May? I know. I am so negligent in having scheduled meets of the month, only because my schedule has just been cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So I know the meets of the month have been like meets of every other month. I am desperately going to try and get one in May, but I am really not here. So my answer, unfortunately, is going to be no, because that would really just leave me this weekend, which is too early. Next weekend is Mother's Day. I can't, and then I leave on Monday for Disneyland. I'm going to cover the 70th from Monday to Thursday, and then I leave right from there to Japan. Um, it's actually funny. We were just talking about like scheduling and time and not having enough time. My schedule is so like tight and packed that I've been talking to the folks at Disneyland, setting up interviews, and I'm going to do my interviews on Thursday morning between, I think they said 3 and 6 a.m. or 4 and 6 a.m. or 4 and 7 a.m. And I'm going to go right from those interviews right to the airport. So by the time I get to Tokyo, I'm really going to have no idea what time of day it is. But I promise, in June, we'll do a meet of the month. And I know I also missed a nation call this past month, so I am super sorry. But I promise I bought you really cool stuff back from, if you're a platinum member, I bought you cool stuff back from Celebration and from Tokyo Disneyland, and I'm going back to get you even more. Anyway, do I have any regrets about moving to Orlando? Zero, none, nada, zip, zilch, bagel, donut, none. It is the best thing I ever did for myself, for my family, for my business, for my sanity, for for having to pay or not pay, property and income taxes. It is the best thing I ever did. Amanda, yes, Black Widow was released at a bad time. Oh, good God, Becky. The fact that you even said Madam Web. If you listen, I'm gonna choose the good guy, man. Right? Like I'm always gonna find the good. I had a really, I have a really tough time finding anything good to say, Sony, if you're listening, about Madam Web or Kraven the Hunter. And nothing against, well, maybe something against the acting, but just not good. I think in some like nerd alert. So on Star Trek, there was like a prison planet, like an ice prison planet that they would send really bad people and Captain Kirk to. I think if there was that frozen ice prison planet, there would be nothing but Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter just on constant loop 24/7, which is obviously like tantamount to cruel and unusual punishment. But if you really might be the best deterrent ever if you knew that that's what you were going to be in for. All right, let me see. Let me quickly scroll. I love Florence Pugh, and I really like David Harbour a lot. Ken and I have lunch, Rez, at Cinco de Mayo at San Angel Inn. Will it be nuts there? Yes, it will. And Becky says, no, I am wrong. We are completely sold out, but we have a wait list. There you go. You got to jump on these ABDs fast. They do go fast. And yes, Caleb, I think Deadpool might be offended at some of the language that Becky uses. And like a sweet, innocent little Catholic boy like myself, I have a very tough time with that. My mom loves German the train sets. Love the pirate cell. Let me see. Let me quickly go. Let me go faster. Alana, have a great night. Thank you as well. Marlisa loves the smells. I like the smells from Soarin', the original, more than I like I haven't been on the new Soarin' in a long time. And Becky, when we go back to, and anybody else who's in the, I know there's a couple of folks in here. Anybody else who is in, when we go, we have to ride Soarin' when we go to Tokyo Disney Sea. The attraction is the same. Actually, it's the older attraction. It's the original attraction. But the queue is nuts. There is an effect in the queue that I still don't know how they do, and I've never seen anywhere else. The effect, top 10, somebody write this down, please, and send this to me. Top 10 special effects. Top 10, because we've done wow moments. We've done special effects. I think we need to revisit that. because the effects and the wow moments in some of the foreign parks, which I think we did before I did those moment things. There are multiple things in Tokyo Disneyland and Sea that would absolutely have made that list. Julie Andrews, yes. I'm gonna say yes, and I'm gonna say no. Like when we hung up the phone and I wiped the tears from my face because I had them because it was Julie Andrews, and I turned off the 17 different recording devices that I had. I mean, certainly I would have liked more time, right? Because I could sit with Julie Andrews for hours. But I felt good at the time. I probably should not go back and listen. I would probably kick myself now. Why did I say this? Why didn't I ask that? Why didn't I go deeper with this? When I booked that interview, and this is going back to, this has got to be 2008, 9, somewhere around there. I remember when I booked the interview, her agent told me that I had 15 minutes, which, like, my intro was going to be 15 minutes, Julie. Let's just pump the brakes. But I was like, okay, I've got 15 minutes. Like, how do I talk about a career, let alone Mary Poppins, in 15 minutes? We were able to stretch it. I think it was probably 40 minutes or so. But yeah, I could probably, given the opportunity, go down much deeper, much more thoughtful questions with her, with everybody, because that's what I want to do. Like I like to go wide, but I also really like to go deep, and I think that's what the podcast medium, I think that's what this affords us the opportunity to do. Like 15-second like doom scrolling is great. Photos and stuff are great, but this allows us to have conversations that really can sort of expand and contract as needed and make you feel like you're sitting with me and whoever that person or persons are that I'm having a conversation with. So, do you miss something like Mickey's back? Look, I am a nostalgic, sentimental person. I miss a lot. Like when something goes away, there's always a part of me that misses it. I miss not having done Mickey's Backyard Barbecue closer to when it had closed. So it was not Rick Springfield, by the way. It was not. Favorite snack item as in a Disney cruise ship? You all know the answer already. I would book a Disney cruise just for the chicken tenders, as ridiculous as that sounds. Like if somebody told me that this weekend there was like a 3-day super amazing Florida resident last minute special where I could hop on, because sometimes there's like cast member rates where you can go for like $50 a day in a heartbeat. I would sit on deck, I would sit on my little balcony, and I would just enjoy my own little personal chicken tender buffet. I wouldn't have to get off the ship, see a show or anything. I don't need to go to Palo. I'm perfectly happy just with that. So if I could build another Disney park anywhere in the world, where would I build it? That's a great question. So different parts of the world, we'll talk this out, different parts of the world present different challenges, weather being one, which is why certain parks that were very close to being greenlit, both domestically and internationally, did not come to pass because of the weather issue. Right? That's why you never saw anything in the Northeast, which would make absolute perfect sense. Where else would I want to see one? Or where else would I think one would make sense? Because those are potentially two separate questions. I think the question we have to ask is, what does building another park somewhere else in the world, what does that do? Like, what does that accomplish? Is it serving an underserved market? Right? Because the European market is clearly served by Disneyland Paris. The Asian market, very well served by the 3 parks there. Domestically, you have both coasts. You have in the some of the busiest tourist areas. Where else makes the most sense to build? If you're making a purely financial decision, well, this doesn't. I was going to say you could put one in South America, because there's such. I mean, there's you. I'm sure if you've been to Walt Disney World, you see there's a huge influx of Brazilian tourists. One, do you want to take that away? And two, I don't know that it would attract others. So I don't know. I don't know where. I don't know where I would build another park. That's an interesting question. I would have to think about. Maybe somebody put that in the clubhouse. So Deb, why don't you? Can you do me a favor? Put that question in the clubhouse. I'd be curious to hear other people's thoughts um, on that question. So, Betsy says, Betty, you know I will eat with you any. We had such a good time when we went to Rakusi's. I would love to do it again. Douglas said, your number one gift, is presenting the individual the person brings back. Oh, thank you very much, Doug. I appreciate that. I take doing interviews very, very seriously. I prepare for interviews, one, because, and I try and teach this to other people too when I go to podcasting conferences. One, you have to show the person that you're interviewing the respect, because they're giving you their most valuable commodity, which is their time. The trial attorney in me sort of knows the road I want them to go down. I sort of know the answers that I want them to get to, but open the door for additional stories. And I was just had a conversation with a coaching client not too long ago about this. You can't, and if you are a podcaster, if you do a video show, don't do this. Don't write down your 10 questions that you sort of want to have answered and only ask those questions. And you have to listen more than you speak. 2 eyes, 2 ears, to 1 mouth. Use those in those proportions. Listen to the answer. Like Jim Korkis, I could never have a list of questions because he was all over the place. We would bounce around. It was so circuitous and he'd get so tangential that you have to listen to the answer and go down those other roads. Yes, you can bring them back and get back to sort of that path and that ultimate goal that you're trying to get them to, but you need to listen to the answers and go through those doors when they are opened. Let me see. What is my favorite part of the Little Mermaid section what is your favorite part, Little Mermaid section of Art of Animation Resort? Are you asking, is the Little Mermaid section my favorite part, or what is my favorite part of the Art of Animation Resort? Hannah Bird says, as a proud graduate of the Sangria University, I highly recommend joining does you have like a shirt? Do you get do you get like a shirt? Do you get a diploma that can hang on the wall? I don't even know where my law school diploma is. It's somewhere in the garage. I need to do it. I need to try it. So Brian says, I worked with another bartender. Dude, let's go. Let's freaking go, man. Let's make that happen. Am I traveling to San Diego Comic-Con this year? I would love to go to San Diego Comic-Con, which, if I'm looking at my calendar, I think it was right around something else that I had. I would literally be, which is fine. I'd be away for a month. What are the dates again, Kevin? What are the dates? Oh no, July 24th. Yeah. So, I could go right before the ABD. Let's talk offline because I would love to try it just one time. So I'm going to be in Disneyland to celebrate the 70th from Monday the 12th through Wednesday the 14th, and in the middle of the night on the 15th, according to the schedule. So if I could have only one menu, this is not a fair question. If I could only have one menu item, whether dessert, snack, or entree, what would it be? It probably wouldn't be a dessert. If I could have only one menu item, this is an unfair question. I don't like this question at all because I have a tough enough time going to certain, when I go to the Boathouse, am I getting the filet sliders or am I getting the coriander seared tuna? I want a little buffet. I want a little mini Lou buffet of just some of my favorite items. I don't know what my favorite item. If I could only have one menu item, do you mean forever? See, this I'm going to play lawyer, and I'm going to qualify the question just so I can delay and move on. So, I do miss the bagels. Oh, I miss the diners. I'm like, if we had one here, and by here I mean within like a 1 mile radius of where I lived. If we had like a diner, like a 24-hour diner here, I would love after a show to be somebody be like, "Hey man, I'll come pick you up, Mangel. Let's go and get some disco fries and like 10 o'clock at night." That's my speed. Again, pretend all this doesn't exist, but that's man, I do miss diners. I do miss the pasta, and I do miss the pizza. Although I have found some pretty good pizza and pasta here in Florida. And yes, Craven was a mess. Like you can tell, Madam Web had scenes clearly written by AI. Some of the stuff in Craven didn't even rise to the level of AI output. Like it was so bad. I don't want to beat this hunter to death, but it's unwatchable. It is unwatchable. And there's great actors in it, but it's unwatchable. If I could redo the ending to the black hole, I would not change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing because 45, whatever it is, years later, we're still talking about the ending to the black hole. It's like the ending to Lost. It was so. I think it was, first of all, I think it was filled with so much symbolism. Both, I think it was, I think it was, I think it's religious symbolism. I think it is reflections on humanity. I think it's a reflection of the time, but it's so wild and creepy and so like riddled with questions that I wouldn't change a thing. Like, I like the fact that we don't know. And look, Disney, pull up a chair for a second. Not that you're listening. You're doing all these remakes. You're doing all these remakes, all these live action remakes of movies that did not want, need, ask for, deserve, or should not have been punished with a live action remake that you made. You have an opportunity to remake movies that, for one reason or another, may have been out of time in terms of when they were released from a technology perspective. Maybe they were well-intentioned. Condor Man, I'm looking at you. But very much missed the mark. Like, you could remake Black Hole now, and it could be an epic, like, Shakespearean masterpiece. Because the story is great, and the villain is fantastic. The surprise reveal is so unexpected when you first see it. It has those elements like the lovable robot droid thing. Vincent, I'm looking at you. I'm not pointing up to heaven. I actually have a little Vincent up there. Vincent and Bob, like I'm looking at you. It had an amazing cast, but it might have just been out of time. And I think it was Disney went through this period. And if you're a movie person, I would be willing to sort of possibly have this conversation as a show topic. We can talk about the dark times of Disney movies. And I don't mean the dark times in terms of box office dark. I mean dark in terms of there was this sort of like, hey, we need to start making darker movies as well. Black Hole, I'm looking at you. Dark Crystal, I'm looking at you. Even some of the animated stuff got a little bit darker. Black Cauldron, I'm looking at you. And there was this period where I understand what the intent was, but maybe it did not hit the way that it should have. I cannot find Something Wicked This Way Comes anywhere. It's not streaming anywhere. You can't buy the DVD anywhere. Like, I remember watching Something Wicked This Way Comes as a kid. Um, like you could find like bootleg eBay versions, or I certainly do not recommend illegally downloading it. But there was that sort of dark period. So if anyone wants to sort of explore that topic some more, I would be open to an offline conversation discussing the viability of it, and then possibly doing it for something on the show. Can I rank my top 5 Disney parks? Yes, I can. Tokyo Disney Sea, and I don't know the other 4 after that. I don't know. It's Tokyo Disney Sea. Tokyo Disney Sea by a mile. I mean, it's by a mile, by 20,000 leagues. I would need to revisit, Becky, hint, hint. I would need to revisit Hong Kong and Shanghai again because it's been so long. I'll just quickly say, I think Disneyland Paris may be the most beautiful of the Magic Kingdoms, of the Disneylands. I think Epcot will always hold a special place, as will Disney's Animal Kingdom. Disneyland has to be on that list because it's Disneyland, and that might be 5. So there you go. Maybe that was easier than I thought it was. Kenneth, I booked Spring. So it was not Rick Springfield. It was definitely not Rick. I promise it was not Rick Springfield. I'm sure he is a nice guy. Would you like to see an update to Flight of Passage for Fire and Ash? Think Star Tours, multiple possibilities. I'm dying for that trailer. So Amanda, I always love something that will improve the experience for guests and the rewritability factor. I will admit, I have not seen the second Avatar movie. I have not seen The Way of Water. I should. Maybe I should download. Oh, maybe I should download that for the 97-hour flight to Kyoto. Maybe that's a good movie to watch. Yeah, somebody write that down for me so I can. I just haven't seen it yet, but I do like that idea. So, Q special effects is a good idea too. Peter Pan, Runaway Railway, top 10 Q special effects specifically in Walt Disney World. Yeah. I should not try and think this out loud now because I'll ruin the potentially top 10. What Disney movie, show, etc. do I turn to for inspiration? It depends on what mood I'm in. There have been times I've probably had the Avengers the original Avengers in some capacity, some form or fashion. It's got to be 75 times. Even if it wasn't beginning to end, there have been times that I would put on that scene in Endgame just because I needed that kind of lift. Like I needed that sort of like get up and cheer and make your heart swell when, spoiler alert, when Cap grabs the hammer. Like that's one of those. And I'm still trying. I think I've got my person. Like I'm going to talk about this on the show at some point. There are other movies that are just sort of feel good background movies. Like I love Big Hero 6. I love Big Hero 6. It's one I could just sort of have put on in the background and not have to pay super close attention to. There are times, again, depending on the mood. You said inspiration. I think that's a wide spectrum. Like Mary Poppins is an inspiring movie for a variety of reasons. Yeah, I think we all have our comfort movie. Top 10. Wait, somebody write this down, please. Top 10 Disney comfort movies. What are movies you could just like turn on that are just, they give you that like warm, comfortable, happy feeling, whatever it might be. So, Julie Andrews was 2009. Yeah, you have been listening for a long time. Plus, you'd get to hear say, "Oh, Lou." Yeah, that was a moment. That was definitely a moment for me. Um, I did Keys to the Kingdom last weekend. Have I ever done it? If so, it was my favorite part. And did you learn anything from it you didn't already know? Is there anything you think would make it better? So I did, Allison. I love the backstage tours at Walt Disney World. I don't even know 100% sure. Um, there was Keys to the Kingdom and there was Backstage Magic. I think Backstage Magic was the one that was like the 8-hour tour, which was amazing. And I don't think that they do that anymore because it took you places that you could not go otherwise. And I know this sounds ridiculous. One of my favorite parts of the tour, maybe it was Keys to the Kingdom. I think Keys to the Kingdom is only Magic Kingdom, right? And I'll get to your answer. Backstage Magic not only took you to multiple parks, it took me to the laundry facilities. And I know that sounds ridiculous because I don't know how the washer and dryer actually work in my own house, but I was fascinated by the process and the logistics and the scale and scope of the laundry facility because we don't think about it. Think about all of the sheets, pillowcases, towels, washcloths, um, bath mats, napkins, all these things, clothes have to go through that laundry facility all day, all night, every day. It's crazy. So being able to see the logistics of that was fascinating to me. But on Keys to the Kingdom, and I don't think they take you. Allison, tell me, they took us to the Haunted Mansion control room, where, and at the time, it was they still was this mix of analog and digital, like they were using some reel to reel stuff, but they showed us the room and they showed us the bays where they had like cue the dog sound, cue the wolf sound, cue the cat meows, and they showed us all. That was fascinating to me. And is there anything that I think would make that better? Um, if I could step foot into the ballroom at the Haunted Mansion, that's a bucket list thing for me. I would have stepped foot. I would have come in from the back, and I would look at the ballroom, and I would look at the two levels. I want to see the I want to see the figures that, which are backwards. I want to see the figures. Which, well, actually, they're doing it right, but they reflect backwards. I want to see the dancing figures. I want to see Pepper's ghost from inside the ballroom. I want to step foot into that room and see what it's like. Thoughts on Star Wars Visions? Really love some of the anime style. So I watched the first season. I saw some of the second season. It was hit or miss for me. There were certain episodes that I really liked. I'm drawing a blank on the episode title right now, but it was the black and white Japanese anime style with the Ronin figure. I really, really, really liked that one. Other ones, meh, not so much. Have I gone anywhere epic yet? Not yet, but it is on the list. I am very, very curious to see. But I really want, when I go, my hope is that everything is working. Like I know people who are going and do work there and things like that. And a lot of stuff that's just not, it's not show ready yet. Um, so my hope is that when I do go, it will be like sort of ready for prime time. Who is the most inspirational? Oh, I don't like questions that say most because I'm going to leave somebody out. Most inspirational person in the Disney organization to you personally? I'm not prepared to answer that question because there are different people who inspire me for different reasons. There are there are folks that I've met whose stories are inspiring just for very sort of on a micro level as opposed to sort of the wider macro level. Um, I mean, there are people who I admire but don't know. There are people who inspire me because I see that what they do comes from a place of fandom. Jon Favreau, I'm looking at you. Who's the wild man now? It's a quote from Rudy, which still makes me cry. Jon Favreau, even Filoni, like everything that guy does You can see it in his eyes. Like there is love and there is passion behind it. It is not quote unquote just a job for him. It is the thing that he pours his heart and soul into, which is what we should all be doing for any job that we do, right? Like no matter what you do, like you should like love your job, or even if you don't love your job, like you do it with full faith and confidence and passion in what you do. But he just sort of exudes that. And I think there's other folks like that. I think Feige is the same way. And I think even if you don't know him, right? Again, I've been fortunate to have, personal one-on-one private conversations with him. But even if you don't know that about him, the fact that he can go on stage at every single event that he does and there's no teleprompter. Go watch him at D23, go watch him at Comic-Con. Everybody else has a prompter that they're sort of reading off of. No prompter, because it comes from here first. It comes from here before it gets to here. That, to me, is what is inspiring. And I think there's other folks in the company who are, I think Josh is like that. I do. I think Josh is like that. I can look Josh in the eye and I hear him the way he speaks, and I get that same sense from him, which is why I think he is perfect right where he is. How do you find out about cast member rates? If you are a cast member or know a cast member, they do have a cast member portal that they can log into, and it'll show them. And Hannah, there are like no joke. Like the cast member rates are literally like $35, $50 a day to go on cruises because they want to fill those. I mean, but it might be Wednesday and it'll open up for like a Friday or Saturday cruise. So I have friends who are cast members who are local. They have no kids. They're able to sort of do that pretty often. And, for a couple $100 to go on a Disney cruise for the weekend. So, let me see. How good are the chicken tenders? Caleb Joshua Hill. So how can I possibly describe how good the chicken tenders are? It's as if, depending on what you believe, but go with me here. It's as if you went up to heaven. Not that I want everybody to go down, but if you go up to heaven and you get there and an angel comes out and they're like, here are the greatest chicken tenders in history. And then somebody from the kitchen's like, whoa, wait a second, hold on. And then they come out with even better chicken tenders. That's what they are. I hope that wasn't blasphemous. You understand, God, the point I'm trying to make. I'm sure the tenders in heaven are much better, but from my frame of reference, that's all I got. I need to move on because I don't want to, get myself in trouble. Let me see. I have interviewed Lee Cockerell a couple of times for the show. He is a fascinating guy. He's also keynoted at my Momentum event in, I think it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. Again, fascinating, brilliant guy. No slides, no notes, no nothing. Talks for an hour, inspires the room, leaves with just gold. We did a couple of shows together. He's just a really good dude. So is his son. I really like Dan Cockerell a lot. So if you might go into whatever your podcast player is, or the WW Radio site, you should be able to find that. All right, let me quickly go. What are my thoughts on Fantastic Four now? Mark, I think this is if you're a Marvel fan, not just an MCU fan, but a Marvel fan, this is a critical juncture. Like you have to get Fantastic Four right because it's been gotten so wrong so many times in the past. And now that this is its canonical part of the MCU, you need to get this right, because what happens during and after this movie and what this opens up is critical for the future of the entire MCU, because the door is opening to bring everyone together, and the Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel, is going to be the glue that is going to sort of bring those together and make them stick. This movie has to kill. It literally has to kill because of those characters, because of this juncture, not just from a storytelling perspective, but from an emotional fan perspective, and where many of us are in our relatively waning fandom of Marvel, which I cannot believe that I'm saying. Daredevil, I'm not looking at you. This is a very, very, very important movie. Kevin Shea, this question was literally on my thing. My question was if you could spend a week only at a resort, and if you said if you could live at a resort for a month, where would it be and why? I'm going to say Riviera because you can't park there any other way unless you're staying there. If I had to live at a resort, now I'm going to extrapolate from this question that you cannot leave the resort. So it's not because of where it is in proximity to a park, but you have to literally live at the resort, is what I'm going to take away from that. So we can sort of talk it through because there's one that popped into my mind immediately, and it might very well be the answer. Because there are different resorts I love for different reasons. There's some I'm going to cut out. I'm cutting out the moderates. I'm cutting out the value resorts. As much as I love French Quarter, I think it's a little small because I can't go from Riverside to French Quarter. I'm going to knock out Riverside. I'm going to knock out, although Caribbean Beach is beautiful and expansive. If I'm staying at the resort, I'm going to knock out Caribbean. I'm going to knock out Contemporary. I was going to almost say Wilderness Lodge. I think the right answer is the Polynesian. I think the right answer is the Polynesian because you've got all of the different outbuildings. I'm assuming I can bounce from room to room. You have you have multiple incredible pools, amazing restaurants, the single best view of Magic Kingdom anywhere. Waialulu restaurant, I am looking you square in your beautiful blue eyes. It's classic Disney. It's comfortable. You've got the lounges. Yeah, I'm going to say the Polynesian. And I think that's the right answer. I think that's the right answer. So, Becky Mencken, disco fries are what poutine was back in the 80s in New Jersey. Disco fries, you go to a Jersey diner, Route 9, Route 35, Sherbin's Diner in South Plainfield, New Jersey. Pick your diner of choice. You go out to the club, you go out to Hunka Bunka Ballroom, you get with your buddies and maybe some lady friends that you met. I mean, I never actually met any lady friends there, but theoretically that's what hopefully could have happened. You get your buddies, you go to the diner, it's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, you order disco fries. What comes out is a porcelain plate that they've been using for 50 years in this diner, filled with steak fries, big, thick cut, soft, warm, crispy on the outside, moist and fluffy on the inside, well salted steak fries with gravy and then cheese curds on top. Oh my God, I would slay a dragon to have those right now. It's so good. All right. Jersey Girl says, I will take you to that diner if they build it. It is a date. Done. Becky's still talking about the black hole. Becky, I have a feeling I've seen you watch movies, and you don't necessarily sit and take the whole movie. You need to sit in a theater and watch Black Hole, preferably surrounded by 30 to 40 children ages 3 to 6, if possible. So the story is slightly based on Shakespeare's A Tempest. Yeah, so I mean, there are those elements in that movie, and I think for its time, it was really groundbreaking for its time, and it was really sort of Disney's first foray, not just into some of the darker films, but into some of the sci-fi stuff as well. We do still have 4 years left on our China visa. Just, I mean, Becky, we're going to Singapore. It's right across the street. Maybe we should stop in Hong Kong and Shanghai first. We'll talk offline, but we have a long flight together. Actually, no, we don't. And plus you're going to be like, you're way up there. It doesn't matter. Lorraine Pfeiffer Resignio, let's go Giants. We'll see. Things you always have to do when you go to Disneyland, Disney California Adventure. 2 words for you. Cozy cone. Cozy cone and cozy cone. Chimichanga. I love the chimichangas in Disneyland. Um, I love doing the classic stuff in Disneyland. I'm very curious to see Haunted Mansion and that whole new area over by there. Um, I love doing the quintessential classic Disneyland stuff and eating. Period. If someone has never seen a Marvel movie or show and didn't seem super interested, what would you show them to convert them? Claire, that's a really good question. I think I would have to sort of get to know the person a little bit and find their entry point. I think I think Captain America, the first Avenger, or original Iron Man are good entry points. But again, and I think both of those movies still hold up, especially Captain America: The First Avenger, because it is a period piece. I think Captain America might be. Yeah, I'll plant my flag. I think Captain America: The First Avenger might be the. God, he's such a lovable character. He's such a good, lovable character. I think that has a little bit of everything in it because Steve Rogers is the superhero, not Captain America. Where Iron Man, Tony Stark is not everybody's cup of tea because he's not the superhero. Iron Man is the superhero. You know, the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist is almost sort of the anti-hero. He's the other side of that coin where Captain America, because of what the super soldier serum does, is it it makes who you are. It makes more of who you are. Steve Rogers was a really good guy. It made Captain America a great superhero. It made Red Skull was a really bad guy because the person who he was before that was a really bad guy. Um, yeah, I'll say I could think about this some more, but I would probably say Captain America, the first Avenger. So, all right, let me go. I'm so behind. I know I am so behind in chat. I can see that as I'm scrolling through. I just watched Saving Mr. Banks recently. Found it very inspiring. True. Um, Best classic comfort movie: Swiss Family Robinson. Nice. I did not see that coming. Marceline the Magic Kingdom shows you the working of the Haunted Mansion Ballroom. Do they still take you there? Amanda, do you know? Do they still take you there? Let me see. Let me quickly get to glasses had to come up. Does one ship have better tenders than another? Andrew Prince of Accessible Adventures with Andrew Prince. I don't think so. I think they come from that same magical, mystical, like touched by God place. And I don't want to know where that is, but they just taste better in your stateroom, in your little jammies, at night as you fire up whatever that comfort movie is. Usually for me, it's Big Hero 6. Yeah, see, Randall, that's part of where my answer was. Because you get the bungalows, you get the outbuildings, you get the classics, you get the new tower, you get all the different restaurants, you get the water, you get. It's why I think Polynesian is the right answer. The same way I think that Josh Tomorrow is one of the right answers as well. He's just like I've had interaction with Josh very much off stage, and not for something that was being recorded, not for something that was, you know, was a PR type thing. And the person he is off stage is the person he is on stage. And I say this all the time because it's I don't want to even call it it's not a talent, it's not a gift, it's just who he is. When you talk to Josh tomorrow, he's like Ashley Eckstein, same way. They will look you in the eye and they will not break eye contact. There could be like explosions going off. You are the only person in that room, and they are not just hearing, but they are listening to everything that you say and taking it in and giving you like thoughtful, like caring, personal, responses, it means the world, because there's a lot of people who are not like that, and there's not a lot of people who are like that, which I'm basically saying the same thing. But hopefully you get my meaning. So my love of Josh comes not for just him as Josh, the cast member, just him as the human being. So I did see that Eli's trying to buy a piece of the Giants. Go get him. Go get him, Eli. Jackson Dart. Let's start Dart. Iron Man 1 or Guardians. Yeah, I think for the right, that's why I think you have to ask Lisa. I think you have to, Lisa, I think you have to, would have to ask the person some questions first. I think Iron Man can work for the right person. I think Guardians could work for the right person too. But Guardians was sort of like this very interesting, and I really think this was an experiment, a very obviously strategic and calculated experiment, but because like Iron Man, look, when Iron Man came out, he was not an A-list superhero. Iron Man was very much a B-list hero, which is why Marvel still owned him, because when they were going through all their bankruptcy stuff and just selling characters for pennies on the dollar, Spider-Man, I'm looking at you, it's why they were able to still keep Spider-Man. While that was a risk, so was Guardians. Nobody knew who the heck the Guardians were. And so they assembled this, ragtag, and I think that afforded them a little bit of poetic and dramatic and narrative license in creating those characters and putting that movie together to sort of lighten things up a little bit, to allow more people to come into the MCU as fans, not more people to come in as actual heroes. But I think you're right. I think that for some people would be a great entry point for them as well. And yes, Steve Rogers is very much the man. Sorry I'm late. I missed everything. Jeff, I'm going to start all over again. Hello, my friend, and welcome to WWE Live. I am Lou Mangello. It is 8:44 p.m. I'd like to welcome Jeff C. from insert Jeff C's many. I still want to see social media. I still want to call it mainly Pinterest tips, but I know it's social media news live and all that. Good to see you, brother. Jeff C. from jeffc.com and of Momentum fame. So let me see. Let me quickly go and try and catch up here. I think they're both accessible movies for anyone. You don't have to be deep in the lore, just great characters, relationships, stories, music, etc., and enough to get you curious about the rest of it. True, and obviously, I think what Guardians did, in hindsight, was it opened the door for, I think, a lot of fans who might not have stepped foot into the Marvel Cinematic Universe otherwise, especially younger kids, because I think this was a movie that afforded adults of kids of a certain age to bring them into something that they knew would be fun and light enough for them to enjoy. So this might be I think this is a great question that I will ask in the clubhouse. I want to make sure that let me go back. I want to make sure that I asked the question appropriately. Let me see. Top 5 Disney parks. What was it? I want to make sure I get the question correct. I'm going back. Star Wars Visions, Disney Treasure, Chicken Tenders. Is there anything about Tokyo Disneyland or Sea I want to see implemented in Walt Disney World? No, because I want it. It's the reason that I love going there. So yes and no. There's some technology I would like to see come in, but I don't think I want to see anything from there specifically brought over. I have not seen the second season of Andor yet. I didn't love the first season. I'm not going to lie. I thought the last episode was good, but again, I'm relatively removed from a lot of the more recent Star Wars stuff, but I am curious to see what it is. I don't remember exactly how the question was worded. Let me see. It was not Richard Marx or Billy Ocean. You'll never get it. You'll never guess who it was. And it's somebody who hasn't been there in a long, long time. So Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the question. If I remember exactly how the question was worded, we can put this into the clubhouse and chat about it. Oh, there. Okay. If someone had never seen, I'll take a screenshot of that. There you go. Perfect. So, well, I wrote out. Let me see. I wrote out about 60 questions. Like I just would I had like a running list that I was adding to, and yet here we are, an hour and 15 minutes later, and I didn't get to really almost any of them. But that is part of the fun, and that's what I love about live video. It is why for 18 years we've been doing live video every week. It's why it's such an important part, not just of what I like to do, but such an important part of our relationship, of our friendship, of this community, of this family that we have, because this is not me creating content, putting it out, and then hoping that, you'll chime in, you'll respond to a newsletter, you'll comment on a podcast. It allows us to sort of have this conversation even without being in the same room. So it is why I love it so very much. But life goes on. The world keeps spinning. I've got a ton of stuff to do, and I know you probably want to get on with your dinner or your snacks. So with that, a couple of quick reminders. I will go very, very quickly. If you do want to talk about Thunderbolts or Andor, anything in the Marvel, Star Wars, Disney universe, come on over to the Spoiler Support Group, and we can chat about it there. Tickets for my Momentum Weekend Workshop in Walt Disney World still on sale. I have extended the Super Early Bird Special. You can save $200. The first two speakers have been announced. Gwendolyn Rogers, the founder of the Cake Bake Shop, and Jason Sorrell, former Walt Disney Imagineering. You are going to love hearing from them, and I'll be sharing additional speaker announcements. If not the end of this week, the beginning of next week. We have an amazing lineup. We are more than halfway sold out. So if you have any questions, please reach out and let me know, or just go to LouMongello.com if you want to find out more. We also have a lot of things going on the WW Radio side in terms of in-person events. We've got our cruise on the Disney Destiny in 2026. If you go to the events page, you can find out about all of those. We also still have spots for our Seine River cruise to Paris and Normandy this September, including but not limited to our pre-cruise mini ABD in Paris, and then our post-cruise few days over in Disneyland Paris. Again, river cruising is amazing. Disneyland Paris is incredible. And if you want to come on any of those or book your own magical adventure, you can visit our friends over mousefantravel.com for a fee-free, completely free quote from them, from Becky and her amazing team. More importantly, they treat you like family. More importantly, they treat you like family that they really like. So go and visit them over at mousefantravel.com. Becky says we have 3 cabins left for the Seine. So I'm looking at you. I want you to come. I want you to come on the Seine. I want you to experience river cruising. We will have so much fun. I promise. I'm looking right at you. So with that, that is going to do it. Again, thank you so very much. Thanks to everybody in the Nation family for helping to keep the lights on, keep the cameras on, and keep the show moving forward. I appreciate you. Come be part of the community conversation over in the clubhouse, and always know how much I love it works and appreciate you. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, please reach out and let me know. So until next time, have an amazing week, and I will see you soon.